The Philadelphia Eagles have officially began their season with training camp getting going this week, and with that we have a bunch of news coming out from the team's first practice of the camp period, as we have multiple different players that have already been really impressive, as well as some news regarding different camp battles, plus we have many very interesting comments coming out from the coaches and players themselves. I think it's safe to say that the start of Philadelphia Eagles training camp has been incredibly interesting so far, and you're not going to want to miss the news that has come out up to this point. So we're going to talk about all that in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So the Eagles officially reported to training camp on Tuesday, July 25th, where on their first day, we really didn't get a ton of new information. We got some fun videos from the social media team, including a behind the scenes of their hype day, and we did get to see Sidney Brown for the first time in his official Eagles jersey, as well as Jordan Davis looking like an absolute beast in that video. So that was definitely cool. It really does look like Jordan Davis is in a lot better shape than he was last year, which is obviously good because he's going to have a much bigger role this year, and the Eagles are relying on him to step up, so for him to be in a lot better shape is a very good sign. But other than that, we really didn't get too much news on Tuesday because the Eagles' first practice of training camp wasn't held until Wednesday. But now that Wednesday's practice has came and went, we got a bunch of different news to talk about, so let's get into that. And the first news came out before practice even began, as head coach Nick Sirianni and general manager Howie Roseman held a pre-practice press conference where we got a lot of different information, starting with the fact that everyone passed their conditioning test ahead of training camp, which is obviously good. It seems like everyone's prepared for the start of this upcoming season, and that's obviously something that's really important. It's good to hear that the guys were taking care of their bodies during the summer break period. But then getting into some real news, the running back position is obviously one of the bigger areas that fans are paying attention to as camp begins, and Nick Sirianni was asked if all the guys in that room would get an opportunity to have a big role, and his answer was very revealing about the Eagles' approach to this position. Take a listen.
Yeah, everybody has an opportunity to earn roles, and looking forward to watching that position group battle, and so they'll rotate throughout. You're going to see Boston in with the ones, you're going to see Kenny in with the ones, you're going to see Penny in with the ones, you're going to see DeAndre, you're going to see Trey Sermon in with the ones, you're going to see him in with the twos, and you're going to see him in with the threes. I wouldn't look too much into who's with the ones, who's with the twos, who's with the threes, because they'll all be mixing in to make sure they're getting the reps.
So that's definitely really interesting. Sirianni essentially said that everyone was going to get their chance and that each guy was going to run with all three groups, whether that be the first, second, or third team. So it really doesn't sound like the Eagles are in any sort of rush to make a decision on who's going to start at running back. Obviously, I think the majority of fans expect it to be DeAndre Swift, and so do I. I think he's going to be a huge part of the Eagles offense this year because I think his receiving ability adds a whole new dynamic to this Eagles offense. But guys like Rashaad Penny, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, and even Trey Sermon are going to get their shot to show what they can do and earn big roles. Obviously the Eagles have a very talented group of running backs, and all these guys can be utilized in different ways, and if used effectively, they can very well have a lot of success in this Eagles offense, and I do expect guys like Rashaad Penny and Kenneth Gainwell specifically to be big parts of this offense this year. We just don't exactly know which guy is going to get the majority of the carries and what roles each guy is going to be used in, so I think what ends up happening at training camp is going to heavily influence how that all shakes out, so it's definitely going to be something to watch. It was very evident today that each running back is going to get their opportunity to shine in different areas. Rashaad Penny got the first carry for the first team today, but DeAndre Swift also was apparently pretty impressive today in 7-on-7, and Eagles insider Dave Spadaro took note of that, saying, quote, "Running back Swift very elusive and a weapon in the passing game." And also, in addition to that, Trey Sermon also apparently had a really good day, so it seems like the running backs are already making noise early, and again, that's definitely going to be a positional battle to watch as training camp unfolds. But now continuing on here, we got some more information from that press conference as Sirianni was asked about who's going to initially get the nod to start at right guard, and this is what he said.
Right guard, we're going to start with Cam right there, but that's where we'll start today, and we'll see how that plays out. And then, we got some good options there as well, and so looking forward to see how that battle plays itself out as well, but Cam will start out there today.
So there you go. He said that Jurgens is going to get the nod to start there at the first practice, but that does not mean that he's guaranteed the starting position once week 1 rolls around, and there's still going to be a battle for that position. So guys like Steen are still going to get their opportunity to compete for that job. Now, do I think Steen ends up winning it? Probably not. I still think that Jurgens is going to end up starting, but still, it's good to hear that there's going to be a competition for that spot, and that's definitely going to be something to watch as training camp unfolds. Now, in the same press conference, Howie Roseman was asked about the linebacker position, and he definitely left the door open for moves to be made there.
We got a lot of young players at that position. We're excited to see those guys, evaluate them on a daily basis. And again, like anything, we'll keep our options open. We're never going to close the door on an opportunity to improve our team. So we'll constantly be looking at that position and every position.
So yeah, he essentially said that the Eagles are going to keep their options open in regards to possibly improving the linebacker position, as well as, of course, every other position. But linebacker is definitely a unique one because, first of all, that's probably the weakest position on the Eagles roster at this current moment. And we really only know one of the guys that's going to end up starting, and that obviously is going to be Nakobe Dean. But the other spot's going to be up for grabs between a few guys like Morrow and Christian Elliss, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But yeah, those were pretty much the most notable things to come out of that press conference that I do think revealed a lot about the Eagles' thought process as we begin training camp. So then, of course, after that was over, the Eagles' first official practice of training camp began, and there was a lot of news that came out of that, and there were quite a few players who had some impressive showings. So don't worry, we're going to get into all that news, but just real quick here, I just want to say, if you are enjoying this video and want to see other videos like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're one of those people, you've been consistently watching these videos and you love the Philadelphia Eagles and you don't want to miss any training camp coverage, make sure you fix that right now, subscribe and turn on notifications so again, you don't miss when any other videos are uploaded. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. And now with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So what better place to start than with quarterback Jalen Hurts, as he apparently had a pretty solid day on the Eagles' first practice of training camp, as he was 6 for 10 with 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, while also having some good quarterback runs. So definitely a solid first day for Jalen Hurts, and he also had some pretty great comments after practice as he made sure to emphasize the importance of moving forward and raising the standard.
You understand that things have to happen for you to move forward, and if you fail, you want to fail forward. And we know what our goals are. But it's a day-by-day process in that.
And of course, this is just the mentality that Jalen Hurts has. He's hungry, and I'm just so excited to see what he's about to do this year. I'm telling you, man, this is going to be a special season for Jalen Hurts. Now, of course, as I said, Hurts threw 2 touchdowns, one to Dallas Goedert, who apparently looked pretty good, and then the other to Tyree Jackson, who Dave Spadaro said had a big morning, as he also caught another touchdown pass from Marcus Mariota. So look out for Tyree Jackson to compete and try and earn the tight end number 2 spot. Can he actually do that? I guess we'll see. And now for the wide receivers, starting out with Devonta Smith, who apparently already looks really good, as reporter Jeff Kerr said, quote, "First practice of the year and Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith already look solid. Crisp arm motion for Hurts and smooth route running for Smith. Just drills, but exciting to see." And then in addition to hearing about Smith, we got to see some videos of A.J. Brown, Quez Watkins, and Olamide Zaccheaus catching passes, which was definitely cool. And we obviously know how crucial of a training camp this is going to be for Quez Watkins specifically, so it's nice to see him seemingly starting off camp the right way. But in regards to the offense, I mean, that's pretty much all we got aside from some other random clips of the offensive line practicing, as well as the running backs getting in some reps as well, which I know is going to get the fans excited. You see DeAndre Swift in there, you got Rashaad Penny, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, all these guys. So that's definitely something, but nothing too crazy. But that was just the offensive side of the ball. I still haven't even gotten to the defense yet, which is where all the most notable news of the first practice of training camp is coming from. As there were a few guys that really stood out for the Eagles on the defensive side of the ball to open camp, beginning with rookie Nolan Smith, who was probably the star of the day. I mean, everyone is really hyping up Smith and how he looked during his first practice of training camp, as we had multiple people absolutely praising his speed off the edge, and I mean, everyone just seems super impressed by that, and that's no doubt going to be one of his biggest tools to becoming a successful NFL player, and that's one thing that makes him super unique, and that's probably one of the main things that the Eagles saw when they drafted him that got them so excited, and he definitely flashed his elite speed here on the opening day of practice. And Smith also made some great plays, as he apparently beat Jack Driscoll on back-to-back plays and got multiple pressures on Marcus Mariota, one in which he fumbled the ball when trying to get away from it, and another in which Mariota actually threw an interception. Plus, Smith also had a crazy play where he apparently put Eagles tight end Brady Russell on the ground en route to what would have been an in-game sack, so it's definitely safe to say that Nolan Smith was really impressive during his first day at camp, but he wasn't the only Georgia rookie who impressed, as Jalen Carter apparently was turning heads as well, as he had a sack on Jalen Hurts when going up against the first-team offense and that dominant offensive line when he was playing with the second-team defense, and Eagles center Jason Kelce made sure to recognize Carter's impressive play, as he said that Jalen Carter was one of the day one standouts at camp, which is definitely some incredibly high praise from an all-time Eagles great. And another Eagles legend in Brandon Graham also had some very high praise for the 2 Georgia rookies, saying, quote, "Them boys, they work. So overall, it's just awesome to hear how much the two Georgia rookies have been impressing at camp, but they aren't the only Bulldogs that have been impressing. As first off, second-year linebacker Nakobe Dean is obviously getting first-team reps at linebacker, no surprise there, and people are just really excited to see how he performs this year, and it sounds like it's been so far so good in regards to him, but the guy that was really impressive during the Eagles' first practice of training camp was Jordan Davis, as obviously, like I said earlier, he looks like an absolute beast entering camp, and during the first practice, he got first-team reps at defensive tackle along with Fletcher Cox, and he made some plays, notably one where he apparently got some really good push on the interior in 11-on-11, so that's definitely good to hear, and it's also good to hear him getting praise from his teammates, as Eagles legend Fletcher Cox said, quote, "He's healthy, he's flying around, you feel his presence," and he said that he expects to see a big jump from Jordan Davis this year, as he's actually healthy, which he wasn't for the most part last year, and he also made sure to mention that Jordan Davis is doing a good job with his conditioning, so overall, it sounds like Jordan Davis is about ready to have a breakout season, and just maybe, so could linebacker Christian Elliss, as he continues to shine during this offseason. I mean, he obviously was one of the big standouts at OTAs, and he continued to impress here to start training camp, picking off Marcus Mariota once again in the first practice. And I mean, I don't know, he was getting second team rep, but linebacker is definitely a position that has plenty of room to change, and even though right now Nicholas Morrow is the starter, Elliss is definitely going to have a chance to compete for the starting spot, so will he win it? I'm not sure, but that's definitely going to be something to watch as we move forward here through training camp. And something else to watch is going to be the battle for the safety position. Now, this is a position that I think has a little bit more certainty than linebacker because the Eagles got some pretty solid options there, and arguably the most important one is Reed Blankenship. And I mean, we've talked plenty about Blankenship on this channel before, with him being named the X Factor for the Eagles this upcoming season. And during the first practice at training camp, he got first team reps at safety, and he performed well, most notably having a pass breakup on a pass intended for Kenneth Gainwell during the Eagles' red zone drills. And I mean, I gotta say, I'm really excited about Blankenship this year. I think that he's going to have a fantastic season for the Birds, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to end up being a starter this year. Now, in regards to the other safety spot, it's going to be a competition in my mind between two guys, those being Terrell Edmunds and Sidney Brown. Now, in the first practice, Terrell Edmunds got the first team reps, and with him having 5 years of NFL experience already, while Sidney Brown is just a rookie, I would imagine Edmunds ends up starting, but still, this is going to be something to monitor throughout training camp, and who knows, maybe I'm completely wrong and the starters end up being completely different from what I thought, so I guess we'll see on that front. And now moving on, someone else who apparently was really impressive during the first practice of camp was James Bradberry, as he had multiple pass breakups in the red zone, and just overall he had a really good day. I mean, it sure seems like James Bradberry is coming out with a vengeance after being snubbed from the NFL Top 100 list and having his name dragged through the mud for one play at the Super Bowl, despite him having an all-pro season last year. So yeah, overall, it's just great to see James Bradberry come out and perform this well. And now lastly, during the Eagles' first day at camp, Nick Sirianni was apparently very active, as, you know, it's the first day of camp, it's the first practice, things tend to be a little bit sloppy, and that was exactly the case for the Eagles, but Coach Sirianni was not having it, as he apparently was yelling into the megaphone the whole day, and he had to stop the music to try and get the guys to clean things up. Now, to be honest, I absolutely love this because, first off, I'm not worried at all about a little sloppiness on the Eagles' first day of practice. I mean, it's the first day of practice, it happens. What I do like is that Sirianni is holding his guys accountable and to a very high standard from day one. I mean, that's part of the winning culture and dog mentality that helped the Eagles get to the Super Bowl last year, and they're going to need to keep that mindset if they want to have the same sort of success this year. I mean, overall, this team just needs to stay hungry, and that's exactly what A.J. Brown believes, as he knows that himself and the team need to carry that mindset to be successful in their goals this year, and he made sure to emphasize this in a post-practice interview.
It's not tough at all. I think if you have a complacent mindset, I think it would be tough, but that's not none of the guys on our team, none of the guys around me, especially not me. You know, I want to continue to grow, continue to get better, you know, regardless of whatever. Like I said, whatever happened last year, it doesn't matter. I got to come out and prove it each and every year. You know, got to earn respect all over again. So I'm not riding on that high. And, you know, most importantly, like I said, we lost. So there's no high. You know, I'm trying to, you know, everybody know what the goal is around here, and we don't even got to speak on it, you know, but we know we got to get prepared for the work and put in the work. So
I mean, you gotta love these comments from A.J. Brown, as well as the previously mentioned comments by Jalen Hurts, and just the overall mindset the team seems to have as training camp begins. And even though practice number 1 is over, there's going to be plenty more news coming on as training camp continues, and I'm going to be covering as much of it as possible despite the fact that I'm still on vacation. So if you don't want to miss any of that coverage, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications right now. In addition, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like on it to show some support, and also let me know your comments down below. What do you think of the Eagles' first practice of training camp? I'd love to hear your guys' opinions regarding anything that I mentioned in this video. And if you're one of those people that watches these videos but doesn't necessarily watch my shorts, there's a bunch of those out there. I've been making a ton of them lately, so you're definitely not going to want to miss those if you are interested in Philadelphia Eagles content. So again, check those out if you haven't already. And if you want to watch another video talking about some possible extensions that the Eagles could hand out before the season begins, you can go watch it right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.